Hi guys, this is Breaker SC2. Apologies for the, I guess you'd say, the sudden white screen. So, the reason why I've decided to go ahead and make this VOD is because I wanted to showcase to you all my play on Kerrigan, if you will. I wouldn't say it's the most amazing by I guess you'd say any long shot of human imagination, but it's also worth noting this is my second time recording this, because the first time I tried streaming it straight to twitch.tv, and then I was hoping, okay, well I can just take the Twitch VOD and put it on YouTube. Well, unfortunately I started dropping some frames and XSplit didn't tell me this, so I'm redoing the whole thing all over again. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys why I went with the decisions that I went with. And of course you can see I'm asking everyone to go easy on me because this is my first time playing Kerrigan. And I know you guys are probably laughing at me, but I kind of did okay here. It says easy combo. The guys told me easy combo, just drag and stun. That means E and W, but first talent that I chose was the aggressive defense. And that, or excuse me, sorry, what was that? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing because this is my second thing. The second time doing the replay, so I got it wrong. I went for Siphoning Impact because that's going to be something that just heals Kerrigan a little bit. It's also worth noting that your Q, which is called Ravage, if you get a last hit on a creep or a hero, you're going to heal your, or it's not only going to heal you, it's going to give you a full-blown reset. So there's that incentive to dump down on champions that might be one hit and out of the fight. There's also the potential to actually leap out of the fight later on, because later on you'll be able to unlock a version of the Q that allows you to hop to your teammates, which would basically be, in some ways I guess you'd say it's comparable to Tristana from League of Legends, but a not ranged version of Tristana. I did die. I was the first one to die in this game, but despite that, my team performed fairly well. It's also worth noting that I contributed 40% of kills to the enemy team this game, so when playing Kerrigan, you're going to have to play very, very carefully. Only hop down when you know you're going to get the kill, or only dive in when you know you're going to get the kill, and then maybe dive out if you can. At this point, we do of course have Val coming in here and trying to get the kill on me, but the whole reason why I decided to stay in the shrine is simply based on the merit that Invictus here, also known as Val, is out of mana. That means less burst damage. It means almost near impossible burst damage, and we have control of this shrine, as well as the north one. And now we have our first Dragon Knight. So that's kind of the reason why I went with this decision. Of course, general rule of thumb is that most melee champs can outdo pretty much most ranged champs. Excuse me, I have to change the names to heroes because we're talking about a completely different game now. Apologies. And of course our Dragon Knight is just pushing mid lane here, if you will. And Zaragorn does unfortunately get knocked out as Nova, and at this point I decided to go in there and contribute to this team fight as it's unfolding. It's not looking too good as we're losing our Dragon Knight without actually taking mid lane, and I do go ahead and hop in there. We get EP there, taken down out of the game. But at this point I'm also out of mana if I'm looking at myself correctly. No, wait, I'm sorry. I'm not out. Everything was on cooldown. Invictus there. If I had kept up with the chase and gone for the Q, I could have probably could have gotten the kill. Probably. And then maybe even hopped out because it gets on reset and there were so many minions nearby that I probably could have hopped too. If not simply hopped to the other side of the fence. We can already see that Illidan is complaining, saying we don't have a good tank. And Kerrigan can be built that way. I could probably go over that in another tutorial at another time, another playthrough. But again, as you can see, I'm just trying to do whatever I can to, for the time being, let's focus on this game. Right now what I'm doing is I'm focusing on just getting a few more kills, if you will. Go back to stats, and of course trying to increase my siege damage as well as, in some cases, my hero damage. Your hero damage as Kerrigan should be moderate, I think, if you're playing this best. it's hard to say from a full-blown thorough analytical perspective. There is no set one goal to go with as Kerrigan, and of course, as you can see, I'm not playing it right because I go very low, and at this point I decide to just go B, heal up, and then get myself back into the fight. I'm gawking just a little bit, thinking to myself, okay, what am I going to go with here for my level 7? And I settled on Impaling Swarm, which means you're stacking, you're going to spawn 2 Zerglings with your W. Now, your W already has a spawn, or a stun. So what you're doing with your W is you're adding stun plus a slight DOT, if you will, slight damage over time. Even more damage over time if your opponent is going to charge into you as opposed to just head back. Because that means you're going to fight him head on. And think about it this way. If you've got your W as Kerrigan, and you're going to go ahead and just not only stun them, but if you don't expend your E in the process, you can pull them back, make the Lings do a little bit more damage, and then finally, maybe in some situations, finish them off with your Q. It's highly dependent on whether or not you have teammates nearby, but that is the stress of this game. There's no way that an entire team has one character just making all the plays. Has one hero making all the plays. You can't simply have that happen. Alright, so of course, one of my teammates died here. That was actually Mitos, if I'm not mistaken. At this point, I'm getting a little bit overzealous, but the turrets are on reload there, so I'm good to go. So that forces the enemy to go back to their fountain, and that means we can, in some ways, I imagine, kind of sustain a little bit of a push here. I should have probably used my E in this peculiar situation to stun Invictus and maybe dive down for the kill. I think it might have been possible. But no matter, I get a stun here, and I think I got the kill with my W, I think. The problem is, I wish Blizzard would at least feature this in the replay system. Let us know who got the kill, for crying out loud. That's kind of one of the most critical points in this game. League of Legends lets you know how you died when enemies have been dealing out damage on you. And here we go, I do my E on Invictus again, which is that pull. And then W goes down on 4 Eyes, there Kerrigan. And of course I'm here to choose another talent, so I go with the only talent that I can. Maelstrom. I can see Ultimate's doing a lot of damage, but at this point I'm running back home and I don't think I'm getting away from this one. No, not in any way. Not at all. There Kerrigan Q'd me, and that means it's on cooldown, so in theory, if there was another enemy nearby, then that Kerrigan could actually hop into that enemy. So only Precision Strike comes in here to knock that Kerrigan off of our, what is it? Knock that Kerrigan off of the shrine that we've taken. And I think that means we're getting our second dragon. Yes. Please take note that I am doing my best not to cast this. My analytical skills are up, down, left, right, not really 100% cut and dry, solid, spot on, if you will. I'm just taking advantage of this situation, I guess you could say, where Kerrigan would make a very good, I guess you could say, utility assassin. What really fuels this is the fact that we have Lily on our team, offering so many heals to our team. So I go ahead and throw my E, my Q onto Vala, and 4 Eyes. Just 4 Eyes was where he did not need to be. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time there. So at this point, we're slightly leading the enemy team with kills. Just slightly. It's only a single kill. But that Sonya, I feel, is going to have to do something very soon, otherwise we're going to be in a good deal of trouble. Go straight onto Stein's Gate. Precision Strike from our Nova is going to allow me to finish off Sonya. And Invictus there is full mana, so we're going to have to be very, very careful with that. Of course, Anubarak was just, again, in the wrong place at the wrong time, thinking he was the YOLO swag or the linebacker or whatever you want to call it for his team, when in reality he was basically the only one there and right in front of 4 of us. I feel like, yeah, maybe that was a total terminal case of the scrub syndrome, if you will. Alright, so what did I go with here? I'm trying to think. Oh, I went with my Q. That's where I was hiding here. Oftentimes I'll hold spacebar because I like to be centered on my character and knowing exactly what I'm doing and where I'm going while I'm in the middle of a game, if you will. So again, I'm just waiting here for someone to hop along, and unfortunately 4 Eyes comes in. He's gonna pull me back, but I get away. The unfortunate part is I'm basically forsaking the shrine, but Nova is here as well, and Nova has a huge amount of burst potential. I really want to make a guide on how to play her sometime in the near future. I tried to get away there, and it didn't work out. So at this point, I've contributed 3 kills to the enemy team, but no matter, as my team has 3 assassins that I can tell. One of them, excuse me, 3 assassins, including myself. We've also got a specialist. I can't think for the life of me what kind of a specialist it would be. Alright, so I guess you could say we're going to fast forward a little bit here. Gonna try and cut the slack, if you will. At this point, I'm trying to go for the bruiser camp, and I had no level ups to speak of, no talents to choose from. I can see that my teammates are pushing this place, and I'm trying to be, I guess you'd say, persistent as anything else. Just trying to figure out, you know, what can I do with mercenary camps, and that's another thing where W helps out if you get the Zerglings. It's actually going to help you in taking mercenary camps just a little bit better. It makes it possible for you to solo a mercenary camp at this stage in the game just a little bit easier. And of course you can see that Kerrigan's, I guess you could say, passive is coming into play here, and that is assimilation. What happens is every time you attack someone, 10% of that will go into your HP bar. Just add a little bit more in the way of shield. As you can see, I get dived down on here, and my teammate's heal helps me out. That's the beauty of having a Lily on your team. Darkwatch tries to get away here, gets strung. I E him, and then I believe I Q'd him there. And now I'm looking for that next target. I go for Vala, but unfortunately, she has her own E to get herself out of the fight. And I feel like that's kind of one of the things about this game so far. I mean, Heroes of the Storm as a whole. One thing I've noticed that stands out about it is a lot of heroes have dives, leaps, if you will. Not saying it shouldn't be there. I'm just saying this seems to be the one thing that makes it most distinct from other games. Now, for my second upgrade, I went, or for my, how do I say this? My talent at level 16, I chose to go with the radius upgrade for my W, which means the stun is there, and I'm not sure if this increased damage at all. No, it simply increased the radius by 30%. So it means if there's more enemy teams, more enemies like this pumped up, I can use my W and stun them like I just did. And I'm getting spammed by this guy. Please ignore him. Please ignore him. It's a fraudulent Chinese website where they trick you into logging into your battle.net and impossibly try to steal your credit card information. We do of course have our Illidan diving down on Rugal there on the enemy team. I can't think of who for the life of me that would be. So of course we got Sonya coming in here again. Something happened to me where I got stunned. Couldn't think of what it was more specifically. Our Dragon Knight is gone. I believe that was our third one. And now I'm diving in here. I just used my Q. I got E'd by the enemy team's Kerrigan. And now Sonya. Well, Sonya's gone, and it looks like I went for the dive in there on Invictus, also known as the enemy team's Vala, and for that I paid with my own life. But the enemy team got dominated, and we got 19 kills. We're 2 levels ahead, and we're about to take some objectives if we pull our strings the right way. Instead, Illidan decides to go for mercenary camp. Alright, so 30 seconds until I'm alive. Gonna push this up a little bit. I wish I could write more reviews for Heroes of the Storm, or not reviews, but character guides. I love creating content, especially for a game that's new, simple to catch on to, fun like this one. But Blizzard, at what cost? At what cost, Blizzard? I'm kidding. There is an issue that I guess you'd say is on the Blizzard end of things that I can't do anything about. I want to be able to buy more heroes, but I can't because my PayPal has. There's no issue with my PayPal. It's just like I'm not physically located in the US and I play on the US server, so there's no way I can buy champions for the US server. on my US account. It's very difficult and complicated to describe. Long story short, my Battle.net account has $20 US attached to it, but I can't spend any of it on Heroes of the Storm. It's the most strange and awkward feeling I've had in a long time.
The dragon shall rest no longer.
And now I think this is where we did not secure the third dragon. We did not secure another Dragon Knight. At this point, we just decided to go for a push. We had Merc Bruisers, we had Siege Bruisers, or excuse me, Siege Mercs. So at this point, we just decided to go ahead and continue our push. But as you can see, we've got our Nova here, soloing it, trying to get away, and it's not working out. So this is kind of where you could say we sort of threw things just a little bit. I was the last one to go B, and I don't think it's such a great idea for our healer to go YOLO swag in there, or solo yagging, or whatever happened for you guys. We don't want B5. We're about 2 levels ahead at this point. I decided to go ahead and push this objective just a little bit, but once I heard they were attacking our core, that's when I decided to go back. Besides that, I knew that as long as we had the Bruiser Mercs alive here, excuse me, then tanking would be alright. At this point, I want to pause the replay and display to you all the power of Nova's passive. Okay, or Nova's, Kerrigan's passive. So as you can see here, I've got health, and that's a huge chunk that I'm over. That is 1,300 out, okay, 4,908 over 3,680. How does that work out? Now, that's 1,300 over my max HP. This is Kerrigan's passive. Assimilation. What you can do is you can buff that by going for... Let me see here. There was abilities that I passed up. There were some abilities that I passed up. I'm looking for them right now. Hang on. I went for Omega Storm, which is basically just a buff to my ultimate. I'm looking for it again. Lingering Essence is basically... Okay, this shield will disappear after 6 seconds. So by the time I've already gone back to Fountain, it's gone completely. Excuse me, back to the core, it's gone completely. But if I get this, it lasts for 12 seconds. Which means, I guess you could say it's kind of sustainable. But I'm looking for the other alternative I could have gotten if you went aggressive defense, which basically means... It's going to give you double of your passive as Kerrigan if you go for it. If you choose this. So this is, I guess you could say, tank potential for Kerrigan as things work towards the late game where you can become... It's a little bit difficult to describe. I guess in some ways comparable to Nautilus from League of Legends. It's a little bit difficult to describe. But again, let's just get back into the game. Show where everything goes. I decided to attack this fountain, and then once I saw that we had basically a non-stop conga line of creeps going to that core, I decided to back out because we're getting dangerously low at this point. And it looks like the fight is somewhat winnable here for us. We're getting very low here, 20%. I dive down there on Invictus, I use my E, and my teammates do the work to finish off Vala. At this point, the enemy team is entirely dead. So what do? I win the game. Because we still have that line of mercs as well as creeps heading towards the enemy core. And it's also worth noting that Siege mercs can outrange the attack range of the core. So guys, that's just about to wrap this up for... I guess you'd say my little guide to Utility Assassins, Kerrigan. For now, I'm Breaker SC2. Maybe check out some more guides that I have to crank out in the future. This is only my second, I guess you'd say, somewhat comprehensive guide and playthrough of Kerrigan. So right now, let's go ahead and do a quick recap on my abilities and why I went with them. This, I didn't know what I was doing. I just had 10%. I saw, oh, lifesteal. I'm going to take it. This, I'm like, okay, well, this means splash damage to creeps. There will be moments in the game where I'll be able to split push just a little bit more effectively, or maybe even take mercenary camps a little bit more effectively. And then I went with Impaling Swarm the W here because I thought to myself, alright, there's a little bit more assassin potential here. But there was also really nothing else I could have gone with. Let's go ahead and do a quick recap on that. I'm going to go back 10 seconds in the replay. Hang on. So I looked at the alternative here and I was like, basic attacks, yeah, but okay. The reason why I did not go with this is because there's nothing to really buff it. Does that make sense? Okay, so what this is going to do is, this is battle momentum. Every time I use my basic attack on a creep or a hero, it's going to reduce the cooldown by half of a second. But if you examine the attack speed of Kerrigan, it's not really that fast. So I don't think it's really worth it in this situation to get it, because to the best of my knowledge with this game, I didn't see anything on my team or anyone on my team that could buff my attack speed and thus reduce my cooldowns. Of course, Maelstrom, there was no other choice I could go with. Ravage range, I went with this because I just didn't know how the rest of this was going to unfold as Kerrigan. If I knew I could make myself a better tank as the game developed, I probably would have gone with Lingering Essence and then gone with the final upgrade, Aggressive Defense, for her passive shield. Maybe. I'll try this out in another guide and see how this works out. And turn this into Utility Tank Assassin, maybe? The thing is, if you get this, you can still jump around the map as Kerrigan if you want. For the Impaling Blades, obviously, I went for the, I guess you'd say, increased potential crowd control effect, as well as the ability to, what's the word I'm looking for? How do I say this? This increases the ability for your team to go ahead and chase down some heroes and just get the final killing blows on them so easily. It's even better given the fact that you've already got something that pulls enemies towards you as Kerrigan. So I think that's going to just about wrap this up. I also went with this for... That's it. Just basically, there was no other choice. That's going to wrap this up for my playthrough, guys. So for now, my name is BreakerSC2. I hope to see you guys in the future with more hero guides and playthroughs. This probably won't be my last playthrough of Kerrigan. I've still got a lot of learning to do with her. So for now, I'll catch you guys later.